That, and also one other thing we covered, which is important, is broken plurals. Anybody remember any rules regarding broken plurals? Are they like normal broken plurals in terms of uh, adjective agreement?
So, broken plural when referring to non-human being considered as feminine singular.
When they don't refer to male human being. So there's divided into two parts. So when they refer to male human beings, and when they refer to anything else, referring to other things, non-male human beings, non-male human being. For adjective, right, purposes, when they refer to male human beings, they are considered like normal plurals. And when they refer to non-male human beings, then they're considered as feminine singular for agreement purposes. For example, anybody wants to give me an example? Anybody? Yes? Okay, mudunun. Okay, mudunun is broken plural. Which one is it? Non-male human being, yes?
Non-male human being.
Yeah. So mudunun. And we said this can be treated as feminine singular for agreement purposes. So if you want to say big city, mudun means cities, it's the plural of, yes, madinatun. It means cities. If you say big cities, what are we going to say?
Kabirun.
Kabiratun. Because
Kabiratun.
it's kind of feminine singular.
Feminine singular.
Right? And for another example, if you if you look at man, rijalun, pious man, you say salihuna. Again, it's not salihatun, it's salihuna. It's considered as normal plural. So it must the adjective must agree in terms of number. But here, in terms of the broken plural, if referred to non-male human being, they considered feminine in terms of gender and singular in terms of number. So mudun kabiratun, al-masaibu, which is the plural of al-musiba, al-musibatun, al-musibatu means calamities, al-masaibu kathiratun. Right? It's not kathiruna, al-masaibu kathiruna. It means calamities are many. It is al-masaibu kathiratun. It's like a predicate, but yeah, he agrees in al-masaibu in terms of number and gender. Grammatically, because al-masaibu grammatically is a broken plural, refers to non-male human being. It's considered feminine, number one, and it's considered singular. Does that make sense? So when you don't speak, I assume it makes sense. So moving on. So the other things we learn, for example, so we how many? So come, we learned the word come to say how many or how much. So how do we use come? How do we use come? So we use come it makes the next word accusative. Kam waladan. So we use with kam, when you say how many, we use the next word must be singular and must be accusative. He, like here, kam waladan. Okay, or kam sa'atan. Okay, that's come. There's all the other words such as which is ayu or ayatu. The reason why is ayun or ayatun, but ayu because it's always becomes as mudaf. The next word is always mudaf, like ayu waladin, which boy, or ayatu mudunin, sorry, which cities. Again, mudunun is broken plural, so we use feminine singular, ayatu. Ayu is masculine, ayatu is feminine. Also, we covered colors. Anybody remember anything about the colors?
It is black.
Masculine and feminine.
Yeah. How do we make colors? What scale do they come in?
Alif and Hamza. It comes in like Aswad is male and Sauda is black female.
Yes, colors. They come on the scalars of alu. Okay, or feminine is fu'la. For example, aswadu. The key. So here the root letters are sin, waw, and dal, right? For example, or we have abyadu. Aswadu means white. Sorry, black. Like abyadu means white. Fu'la would be soda. Soda'u or bayda'u. So this is going to be then fu'la'u. Family fu'la'u, yes. And the plural is, this is masculine, this is feminine, this is plural is, it says fu'lun. Okay. So this is fa'la'u. It's going to be fa'la'u. Soda'u. Bayda'u. And so forth. And the plural is fu'lun. Okay, so for example, we have sudun. It means black, referring to plural. Or bidun. Bidun. Why is it bidun? Because we mentioned before with ya, the convenient haraka or convenient vowel is kasra. Normally, before it would have been, how do you say it would have been dhamma. So how do you say that? We can't really say that. So that's why it gets kasra. It's convenient for when the ya comes after it normally. This scale also refers to what else? Anybody remember elative and superlative?
Kabirun, Akbarun.
Okay.
And
Okay, we need some revision, inshallah, because This should be on your fingertips now. So ism tafdil is on the same scale af'alu. Okay, this feminine scale is well, but this is like a review lesson, so I'm not going to go into too much details because this is used mostly. So what we do to make ism superlative, what do we mean by superlative? We mean, for example, if you want to say he is the biggest man, he is the strongest man. This is like superlative, like a super quality. And then relative is when you say he's better than, or
when
so
we are
forth.
comparing.
Yes, comparing, yes. So for example, if you want to say he is better than you say huwa ahsanu, and min, yes, he is better than you. Or for better, this particular, we could also use khairun. This is not ism tafdil, but this is another thing you use. Huwa khairun minka. Or huwa aqwa minka. Huwa aqwa minka. He is stronger than you. Again, the word is, the key thing is becomes the scale on af'alu. Huwa akbaru minka, huwa ahsanu minka, huwa ajmalu minka. You know, huwa ahsanu min zaydin, huwa azka min zaydin, or so forth. All these is similar. If you want to say he is the most beautiful boy, you say huwa ahsanu waladin. Huwa ahsanu waladin. Say he is the most handsome boy. So key things to remember here is when you are superlative, then first you form a ism tafdil, or a we call it ism tafdil. So we put the word we want to mention in the scale of af'alu, because normally before the word was hasanun. Hasanun means handsome. So hasan becomes ahsanu, and then the following noun becomes genitive, like mudaf ilayhi, and becomes and that word is normally indefinite and singular. And singular, right? Okay, so for you could also say here. So even for feminine, we use ahsanu normally. Ahsanu zawjatin. She is the best wife, for example. Okay. Or if you want to say, yeah. So that's what we covered. Okay, and I think the last thing I probably want to cover now is verb to be kana. So we mentioned things like past continuous and so forth. So we said to make it past continuous. What's past continuous? So there's in Arabic there's this concept of perfect verb and imperfect verb. So verbs are divided into two. So al-madi and al-mudari. Al-madi is past, or essentially it refers to anything which action which is completed. So al-mudari refers to non-completed. Okay, so it refers to both present and future. Now, We said, how do we know we're talking about present or future? It's context. It's context. For example, if somebody phones me and says, do you have 5 minutes? I want to talk. I'm going to say, Ana akulu. I am eating. So from there, he will understand I am eating now. So it's context. Or if or one thing that could make the verb future tense for definite. What's that? Anybody? You should know this.
Future, we put seen in front of it.
What scene? Yeah, we could put seen. Sayadribu rijalu Zaidan. The man will hit Zaid. Or we could put sofa. Sofa yadribu rijalu Zaidan. So the man will hit Zaid. Or another way it could be is if you had something at the end. For example, if you have if you have yadribu rijalu rijalu. So this is fi'l mudari, right? We mentioned fi'l mudari, or this is a verb which can be present or future, right? Yadribu rijalu zaydan. Okay, and now how do we determine if it's so essentially there could be something at the end in the sentence that makes it present future. For example, you could say al-ana. What does that mean?
That means now.
Now.
Yeah, they're hitting the man hitting Zaid now, so obviously it makes it present. Or you could say ghadan. Tomorrow, ghadan means tomorrow. Or you could say anda zuhri, in the afternoon, and so forth. That will indicate it's future. So here there's no seen or so far. It's simply by the context we're talking about tomorrow, so it must be future here. Or you're talking about now, it must be present. So you have to look at the context. We also done the verb to be, kana yakunu. That's the verb to be, and we said to make a past continuous sentence or past continuous verb. What's that? So this is when we use the past of kana with the present of the verb we want to talk about. So for example, if you say kana nasu yusalluna. Or for example, if you want a verb we covered before in the lesson, يذهبون إلى الطبيب, for example. So this can mean that the people used to go to the doctor. Used to go. So it was a continuous act. It wasn't once. It's we're talking about past, but we're talking about an action which was done. It's called you call this continuous past or habitual past. So you can say when you say the people used to go to the doctor. We're talking about past, but we're talking about the habit. So it's a habit for them to keep going to the doctor. Or it could mean the people were going to. So we talk about the past. We're talking about maybe yesterday or the day before, but we're talking in a way that the action was continuing. The people were going to the doctor. I.e., when I saw them, they were walking to the doctor. So even though I saw them yesterday, the action at the time was continuous. They were doing the action then. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then we said to make the opposite of this, for example, future perfect. So which means we talk about future, but we're going to talk about when the action has completed. So we said it's going to be the opposite. So for example, if you say, so here it's going to be again يكون الناس, for example, the man would have reached, the man will have reached by tomorrow, for example. يكون الناس وصلوا. Okay, this is opposite. So here we're using the present of or the mudare of kana verb, and we're using the verb which we're talking about in past tense. وصلوا إلى بيوتهم غدا. So we're talking about something will happen in future, but we're talking about when the action is complete. So we're going to say the people will have reached their house tomorrow. So when I'm talking about this action, my imagination is that when I'm talking about them, I'm not talking about when they're still walking to the house. I'm talking about when they will have reached the house, when the action will have completed. So this is like they call, I think, future perfect. Does that make sense? Okay, I think I covered everything. Any questions?
So
Yes. Okay, also we said kullu and jami'u. Kullun and jami'un. We said that oh, come on. So we said these two verbs are used as mudaf for emphasis. So for example, if you want to say yakunu nasu wasalu ila buyutihim. So if you want to say yakunu nasu wasalu ila buyutihim. So you could just say here, you could say after nas, you could say kulluhum. Kulluhum. So here kullu, it only gets one dhamma, becomes mudaf, and hum becomes mudaf lehi. So it becomes like the men, the people, all of them would have reached their houses. So you're emphasizing here all of them. So because when you say yakunu nasu, somebody will, because it's all in context. Somebody could be worried about, or some elderly people will get lost, or some children will not reach. You just say yakunu nasu kulluhum wasalu ila bayutihim qadan. So you emphasizing all of them. Any questions?
There was some difference mentioned for like kullun or jameel. There was a rule.
I don't understand the question.
There was a rule that was telling about kullun and jameel and the use. Specific rule was there.
What rule?
I can't remember.
Okay, you just need to just look it up then, because I can't. Because all I said was all the rule that should happen is obviously kulluhum. Here it's when I used an example. This is nominative. Kullu has dhamma. But obviously it could be accusative or genitive depending on. It's like an adjective essentially. It's adjective of man here. It's like an adjective. Or emphasizing the people, so it will take the case of the people. So sometimes you could, if you say daraba zaidun الرجال sorry, daraba zaidun, so zaid hit al-awlada kullahum. So here, why is kullahum has lam has fatha? Because it's describing awlad, and awlad is accusative because it's the object of daraba, hence it takes the same case. Does it make sense? Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else we need to cover, but okay. Can you guys read the past verb of fataha, the all of it, fatahtu fatahna, like we've done. Ana fatahtu, nahnu fatahna. Can somebody start? I will mention names, so if you could start, if you want to start, you can start yourself.
Word is fatah.
Yeah, fataha for fataha. Go on. Hello. Sudais, do you want to read?
Fataha, fataha, fatahu.
No, we learn it Ana with Ana. Start with Ana.
Okay, ana fatatu,
Yes.
and nahnu fatahna, and
Ant,
anta fatata,
yes.
and antuma fatatuma,
Yes.
and antum fatatum, and for female, anti fatati, antuma fatatuma, and antunna is fatatunna, and then there is
Huwa.
fataha, and huma fatahuma,
Fataha.
fataha, and hum fatahu.
Hiya.
Hiya fatahat,
Hiya fatahat. Huma fatahata.
fatahta, and fatahtunna, fatahna,
Hunna fatahna.
fatahna.
Farhana. Do you want to read?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go and read. You can read the same. From memory.
First, sir, anta fatahtu, nahnu
No,
fatahna,
Ana.
ana fatahtu,
Yes,
nahnu fatahna,
yes.
anta fatahta, antuma fatahtuma,
Yes.
antum fatahtum, anti fatahti,
Yeah. Carry on.
antuma fatahtuma, antunna fatahtunna, huwa fataha, huma fataha, hum fatahu. Hiya fatahat. Huma
Fatahata.
fatahata. Hunna
Fatahna.
fatahtunna.
Fatahna.
Fatahna.
Hunna
Fatahna.
fatahna. Yeah. Please memorize this correctly.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Next, Afrin.
Um, Ana fatah. Ana fatahu.
Fatahtu.
Nahnu. Yeah. Ana fatahtu. Nahnu fatahna. Anta fatahta. Antuma fatahtuma. Antum fatahtum. Anti fatahti. Antuma fatahtuma. Antunna fatahtunna. Huwa fataha. Huma fataha. Hum fatahu. Hiya fatahat. Huma fatahata. And hunna fatahna.
Okay, that's good. So I think that's it, to be honest. Memorize the, if you already don't know, to memorize the Fi'l Mudari also, which is aftahu, naftahu, like that. So I think that's it. I think I'm just looking at quickly, just flicking through the book to see if there's anything else I want to mention. But I think that's all, to be honest. Yeah, one thing I would just mention is before next lesson, just obviously we covered what we can, but obviously we couldn't cover everything. So it'd be a good idea for you guys to just go through the book and highlight anything you're not sure of and ask me, because hopefully when we start the next lesson, inshallah, we can move swiftly. And because I think we've done quite a lot, so another few chapters hopefully. And I think if you guys memorize things properly and kind of revise, you should be at a good level, inshallah, to start reading without vowels. That's all from me, inshallah. That's fine. Keep me in the vowels, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan.
Barakallah.